If you didn't know, if you transfer the original 150 Pokemon from either Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee and send them to Pokemon Home, you will receive a shiny Meltan. The only other way to receive a shiny Meltan is through limited time events in Pokemon Go. And the most recent one, as of the recording of this video, ended on May 4th, 2026. And there have been no announcements for the next time you will have a chance at receiving shiny Meltan. So if you'd like to get yourself one, this video is for you. As of the recording of this video, there's also no way to evolve Meltan other than through Pokemon Go. And there is no way to bring Pokemon from Pokemon Home to Go. So this specific Meltan is stuck as Meltan until a new game allows for Meltan to evolve again. Still, unlike Pokemon Go, this is a reliable method to obtain shiny Meltan, so if you just missed the event, weren't lucky enough to encounter one, or maybe just don't want to touch Pokemon Go with a 10-foot pole, then this video is also for you. Like I said before, in order to obtain your shiny Meltan, you will need to capture all 150 Pokemon in the Pokédex, with the exception of Mew, Meltan, and Melmetal, and transfer them into Pokemon Home. In order to catch all the Pokemon, you'll need a Nintendo Switch, either 1 or 2, it does not matter, and both Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And for the trade evolutions, you'll need either a second Switch to trade with, or surprisingly enough, Pokemon Legends Arceus. In case you didn't know, in Legends Arceus, there's an item that can instantly evolve any Pokemon that requires a trade to evolve called a linking cable. You can get this with either merit points or through space-time distortions. It also just so happens that every Pokemon that requires a trade evolution in Let's Go games is also available in Legends Arceus. Just transfer your Pokemon from Let's Go to Home, then from Home to Legends Arceus. Since these Pokemon originally came from the Let's Go games, shown by this symbol on the Pokemon summary screen, Pokemon Home will recognize them from Let's Go and add it to Home's Let's Go Pokédex. One warning before you do this though, any Pokemon brought from Let's Go into any other Pokemon game cannot be returned to Let's Go. Just depositing them into Pokemon Home is safe though. This is fine if you want to complete the Pokemon Home's Let's Go Pokédex, but if you want to complete the Kanto Pokédex in the Let's Go games, then you will need a second Switch. One final thing before we start, here is a list of version exclusives for each of the games. And surprisingly enough, you only need 2 gym badges to obtain every version exclusive. I ended up getting 3, and you may need the 3rd badge to learn Flash, but Flash isn't required anyways. Just something to keep in mind if you need to get the version exclusives in the game, but don't want to have to go through the entire game all over again. Anyways, please leave a like and subscribe. A timestamp of all the Pokemon will be in the comments section below. With that out of the way, let's get started. To start, you will catch your starter at the edge of Pallet Town. Regardless of which game you are playing, this decision will not matter since in this game, you cannot trade, evolve, or even send your starter to Pokemon Home, which means you will have to catch an extra later. Moving on to Route 1, we will want to catch a Pidgey and Rattata. We will also want to catch our first version exclusives while we are at it. For Let's Go Pikachu, we will catch Oddish, and for Eevee, we will catch Bellsprout. If you like, you can make a detour to Route 22 for Nidoran male and female, but we will run into them later, so this route can be skipped for now. We will also skip over Route 2 and head directly to Viridian Forest, where we will catch a plethora of new Pokemon. We have Caterpie, Metapod, Weedle, Kakuna, and Pikachu available in both games. Then we will have Butterfree available in Let's Go Pikachu, and Beedrill in Let's Go Eevee. Both of these are a 1% chance to encounter, so if you have caught everything else here, then just grab an extra of its pre-evolved form and evolve it later. Both evolve at level 10 anyways. And now we have to talk about rare Pokemon. Rare Pokemon refer to Pokemon who exist on a route or area that spawn outside of the normal encounter table. Their encounter rate is normally 0.5%, but if you have an item called a lure, that chance will increase by some amount. Couldn't find out by how much. You can also increase the chance of getting a rare Pokemon by getting catch combos. Build up a catch combo by catching multiple of the same Pokemon. If one runs away, the streak is broken, but not if you run away first. You can tell the Pokemon is about to flee by its taunt. Each Pokemon has a unique taunt that usually looks similar to an attack, but the catch ring will not disappear during this. When a Pokemon does its taunt, you usually have just enough time to throw one more ball or flee. If a Pokemon is giving you a hard time, sometimes the best choice is to flee so you don't break your catch combo. Anyways, if you have a catch combo of 11 or more, then you have a 50% chance to spawn your rare spawn. I should also mention that this only occurs the moment you catch a Pokemon, and only once. So, you will have a single 50% chance to spawn your rare Pokemon on the 11th capture, and another 50% chance on the 12th capture, and so on. That is all to say that Bulbasaur is your rare spawn here in Viridian Forest. I recommend catching 2 here since there is nowhere else you can catch its evolutions, and this is the only place to get one. We will also receive a free Bulbasaur as a gift later as well. Then we head to Pewter City and beat Brock. A small side tangent, I love that these games allow multiplayer. Just shake a second Switch remote and every battle becomes a 2v1. And when catching Pokemon, if both players throw their balls at the same time, it is a synchronized capture, which will make it easier to catch a Pokemon. Anyways, we move on to Route 3, where we catch a Spearow, Sandshrew and Mankey in Let's Go Pikachu, and Ekans in Let's Go Eevee. You will need to catch an extra Sandshrew, Mankey, and Ekans to evolve. You can also get Charmander as a rare spawn here, but I will wait a little bit longer to catch it on Route 4 instead, when we can start buying lures. Before that, we will buy a Magikarp from this man, then head into Mount Moon. Mount Moon has 6 Pokemon we will want to catch: Clefairy, Zubat, Paris, Geodude, and Onix can be found on any floor, but Clefable can only be found on B2F, and only at a 1% chance. A few other things to note in this cave: Clefairy can only be found at 4% on the first floor, and B1F, and 9% on B2F. Onix can only be found at 1% on all floors, but we can also find it later at Rock Tunnel at better odds, so I'll hold off and get that one later. And lastly, there are 2 locations you can get a Moonstone here in this cave, and both respawn daily. You'll need one for Wigglytuff later, and you can get the second one so you don't have to hunt for a 1% chance Clefable and just evolve Clefairy instead. Also, Chansey is a rare spawn in this cave, but there are many caves and routes where Chansey is a rare spawn, and even if you don't catch a single one through the whole game, it spawns naturally in Cerulean Cave, so I'll save that for the end of the video. Once you reach the end of the cave, you will have a choice between the Helix and Dome Fossil, which later in the game will revive into Ammonite and Kabuto respectively. The choice doesn't matter because, like with Chansey, the fossils spawn naturally in Cerulean Cave and we will get the rest later, so choose your favorite. Leaving Mount Moon, I will not yet be catching Charmander. Instead, I will head to the Cerulean Gym and beat Misty, allowing me to buy a lure, which will make rare spawns appear more often. Oh, and stop at this house and get yourself a free Bulbasaur. Now, I head back to Route 4 and start a catch combo and get myself 2 Charmanders. You don't actually need to catch 2 Charmanders here, just one is fine since you will receive one as a gift for catching 50 Pokemon, and Charizard spawn naturally in the sky after you beat the game. But having a Pokemon you can ride on and fly on is very helpful since you can ride your flying type Pokemon on Route 17. You will also need a Pokemon you can fly on before post-game to actually encounter the flying Pokemon. The only options for flying ride Pokemon are Charizard, Aerodactyl, and Dragonite. That's it. You can also use Onix to encounter flying type Pokemon due to its size, but he can't actually fly, obviously. Anyways, we move north to Route 24, where we receive our gift Charmander, then catch 2 Meowths in Let's Go Eevee, one to evolve, as well as Psyduck, and 2 Squirtles as a rare spawn. Also, in Let's Go Eevee, if you catch 5 more Meowths on this route, then give them to this lady in Vermilion City, you can be gifted an Arcanine, which is a Let's Go Pikachu version exclusive. This lady will also give you a Persian in Let's Go Pikachu for 5 Growlithe, but Growlithe isn't on this route, so we will worry about that later. Personally, I didn't get either the gift Persian or Arcanine during my run, but the option is yours. Heading down to Route 5, there is a bunch of Pokemon you can catch here: Pidgeotto, Jigglypuff, Abra, Vulpix in the Let's Go Eevee game, and Growlithe in the Let's Go Pikachu game, but none of them are required nor recommended since this route has several ledges between the patches of grass. You can easily jump down to get one, then another you want appears in the grass patch above you, so you have to jump down, travel all the way back up, and hope it doesn't despawn before then. If you see one you can easily grab, great. Otherwise, we will get each of these Pokemon on Route 7 later for a couple reasons we will get to when we finally reach it. Until then, we will head to Route 6, where it is essentially the same pool as Pokemon. If you find one you need, grab it. If you want the Persian Let's Go Pikachu, then grab 5 Growlithe here. Otherwise, keep moving on to Vermilion City. Like I said before, in Vermilion City, the lady who gives you Arcanine and Persian is here, but there's also a police officer who will give you a Squirtle if you have caught 60 Pokemon. Not unique Pokemon, just any Pokemon. Then we will enter the SS Anne, learn Cut, and fight the gym. Afterwards, we are heading east to Route 11 for 3 Pokemon: Raticate, Drowsy, and Mr. Mime. You will want an extra Drowsy to evolve. Then, we backtrack to Diglett Cave, where we catch, surprise surprise, Diglett. You can also catch Dugtrio here. You can also just as easily catch an extra Diglett, then evolve one, so you don't have to spend too long here. They evolve at level 26 and can be found as high as level 18, 19 if you use a lure. Oddly enough, even the Dugtrios can be found up to level 19, despite being 7 levels below the evolution. Anyways, once you leave, I strongly recommend heading north back to Pewter City and getting the amber from the museum before heading south to this house to learn Flash. Because once you do, your rival will ask if you want to head straight to Route 9, which will fast travel you there. After you are done with your business, accept his offer and travel to Route 9. At Route 9, there are 5 Pokemon we will want to catch, all optional. Fearow, Nidoran male and female, Nidorino, and Nidorina. If you are struggling to find or catch any of these Pokemon, they will appear later on Route 10 and eventually Route 23, where we will stop for a Pokemon anyways. They, however, will be much easier to catch here and Route 10, so take that in mind as we head to Route 10. All the Pokemon we saw on Route 9 will also be here on Route 10. The only difference is Krabby also shows up here. We don't need to catch Krabby here, but like the other 5, it is easier to catch it here than on a later route. Besides, we'll be back here later. Head south, fight a Grunt, then head inside Rock Tunnel. Inside, there are a wide variety of Pokemon we will want to catch. Golbat, Machop, Graveler, Onix, Cubone, Rhyhorn, and most importantly, Kangaskhan. Every Pokemon here can be found later, either at Victory Road, or with Cubone, Pokemon Tower. That is, all but Kangaskhan. It only appears at a 1% chance on all floors, so while catching the others, keep an eye out for this one. If you're still having trouble, use a lure and head to any ladder. Head up and down repeatedly, waiting just long enough to let a few Pokemon spawn in. This will quickly despawn and respawn the Pokemon, helping you find Kangaskhan quicker. Oh, right, and you will want 2 Cubones and 2 Graveler, which we will evolve later. Once you escape from Rock Tunnel, head to the Pokemon Tower just long enough to get this cutscene, then head east to Route 8. You must enter the tower and start this cutscene, else you can't enter the Game Corner Rocket Hideout. Route 8, while having incredible spawns like Ninetales and Let's Go Eevee, Arcanine and Pikachu, and Kadabra, it is nearly identical to Route 7, which we are about to reach, but is just not quite as good as Route 7, which I'll explain in a minute. Keep heading west, enter the underground tunnel, and we will reach Route 7. Route 7 has a bunch of Pokemon you might have already passed by earlier. Vulpix and Ninetales and Let's Go Eevee, Growlithe and Arcanine and Let's Go Pikachu, Pidgeotto, Jigglypuff, Abra, and Kadabra. But what this route has that others don't have is a unique rare spawn, Porygon. You can also get Porygon as a gift soon in Saffron City, but if you want multiple for any reason, this is where you get them. This route also has 2 loading zones touching it, making it very easy to unload and reload the area to spawn in more Pokemon with minimal steps if you're using a lure. Ninetales, Arcanine, and Kadabra all have 1% encounter chance, so if you're struggling to find either Ninetales or Arcanine, you can buy a Firestone at the Celadon department store to evolve their pre-evolution. If you are struggling with Kadabra, well, you're just going to have to catch extra Abras and evolve them at level 16. Fortunately, they are a minimum level 22 here. By the way, Abra will teleport away if you approach it from the front. You gotta get behind to encounter it. You will want to catch 2 Kadabras and 2 Jigglypuff before leaving this route and heading up to Celadon City. Here we can take on the gym, head to the Celadon department store to get some evolution stones for 5,000 Pokédollars each. By the way, you will need 2 Thunderstones, a Firestone, and a Water Stone before the end of this run for evolutions. We will also grab some teeth from Rock, and finally we will head to the Rocket Base under the Game Corner. If you want to quickly get through the Rocket Base, head straight down as far as you can go at the stairs, crossing the moving tile section, head to the bottom floor and fight this grunt, then use your starter to get the lift key. Afterwards, head to B2F and cross the other moving tile section and take the elevator to B4F. Once you have defeated Jesse and James, and Archer, and Giovanni, you can head back to Lavender Town to finish the Pokemon Tower. At the Pokemon Tower, we will want to catch 2 Cubone, if you didn't already, a Ghastly, and 2 Haunter. After saving Mr. Fuji, we will receive a Pokemon Flute. Head back to Celadon and wake up the sleeping Snorlax. We will want to catch it, but if you fail, there is still one more sleeping Snorlax on Route 12. And even if you fail that too, you can still catch Snorlaxes in Cerulean Cave as rare spawns. Once you catch your Snorlax, you can head down to Fuchsia City. I, however, will be taking a not-so-little detour into Saffron City to Silphco to take on Team Rocket. This can be done at any time, but I am a high enough level that I want to get this done now, and using multiplayer, this will be a breeze. For a quick guide to Silphco, starting on the 1st floor, take the elevator to the 5th floor. This allows you to dodge a trainer you would have had to fight if you took the stairs. Then head left and beat Archer again. After obtaining a card key, head to the 3rd floor and open this door and take the teleporter. From there, it is a straight shot to Giovanni, though you will have to defeat Jesse and James again first. Anyways, once that is done, you can talk to this person for a free Lapras, and this person for a free Porygon. Head to the dojo and defeat the Karate Master for your choice of either Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. It doesn't matter which you choose since both are rare spawns on Victory Road. Then there is also the gym, which requires you to have a Pokemon that is level 45 or higher to enter. Unfortunately for me, I did not, so I have to come back for that later. Heading west of Celadon again, we will be taking Route 17 down and catching a few Pokemon. Ponyta, Rapidash, Doduo, Dodrio, and 4 Eevees, 3 of which we will need to evolve. What is interesting about this route is you can fly on your ride Pokemon here before the postgame. This allows you to skip over trainers and obstacles, as well as gives you a good view of the area to quickly find the Pokemon you are looking for. You can only fly on Aerodactyl, Charizard, and Dragonite, with Charizard being the only one available at this point in the game. After we are done on this route, we will be heading to Fuchsia City. Here, we will want to take on the gym, learn Surf in the northern section of town, and do a little side questing to obtain the gold teeth and learn Strength. Then, we'll head east to Route 15 to catch Venonat, Venomoth, Tauros, Scyther in Let's Go Pikachu, and Pinsir in Let's Go Eevee. You can repeatedly respawn all the Pokemon just by entering this gate. After that, we need to backtrack to a few areas and catch some Pokemon that we couldn't before. First is Route 12 or 13, doesn't matter since their spawn table is literally identical, where we will head to this little grass patch and catch a Farfetch'd, Krabby if you hadn't caught it earlier, and Kingler. Krabby actually spawns already past the level to evolve to Kingler, so if you're feeling impatient, just grab an extra Krabby and level it up. We will also want to catch Horsey and Seadra, which can only be found on routes 11, 12, and 13, at 30% and 5% respectively in the water. Next, we are heading back to Route 10 to catch ourselves Dratini and Dragonair in this thin strip of water. Hunting here is not very effective with how little room you have, how few Pokemon spawn, and how low their chances are, 4% for Dratini and 1% for Dragonair. I recommend grabbing a good helping of lures, and anytime a Pokemon spawns, encounter it and immediately run away. This will ensure you are refreshing them at a good rate. Anyways, I would recommend getting both a Dratini and Dragonair and not evolving either, but you can just grab 2 Dratinis and evolve 1 to save some time. It will take a while though. Dratini evolves at level 30, and the highest level Dratini you can get is 24. But this strip of water is one of the most annoying spots in the game to catch Pokemon. Dragonite can be found later as a rare spawn flying in the sky on pretty much any route during the postgame, so I recommend just catching 1 then. Next, we are heading to the power plant. At the power plant, we will be catching Voltorb, Electrode, Magnemite, Magneton, Electabuzz, Grimer and Muck in Let's Go Pikachu, Coughing and Wheezing in Let's Go Eevee, and of course the legendary Pokemon Zapdos. Electrode has 4 static locations disguised as upside-down Pokeballs, and can also spawn naturally. Grimer, Muck, Coughing, and Wheezing can be found later at the Pokemon Mansion. As for Zapdos, I strongly recommend saving before encountering, since if you fail to catch it, it'll only reappear after entering the Hall of Fame, and this guy is a great help during the Elite Four. You will have to defeat Zapdos before you can catch it, and if you're like me, you probably came here completely underleveled. While catching, all 3 of the legendary birds have an aura effect that makes it impossible to feed the berries. Zapdos' aura can be spotted with electricity surrounding him. When Zapdos does this, just throw a ball. Even if it breaks out, the aura will be gone. Once Zapdos joins our team, we will be making just 1 more stop before continuing the story. We will head to Route 6 to use Seaskim in this pond for Goldeen and Seeking. Now let's head back to Fuchsia City and head south to Route 19. Here, we will catch Tentacool and Tentacruel if you haven't already, as well as Staryu and Starmie. You can also get a Lapras as a rare spawn here if you'd like an extra. Then we move on to Route 20 where we can catch Gyarados. Then, after that, we head to the Seafoam Islands. At the Seafoam Islands, we will catch Slowpoke, Slowbro, Seal, Dugong, and Jinx on any floor. After dropping all the rocks and solving the puzzle, you will find Shelder and Cloyster in the water, with Cloyster being a 1% spawn. And of course, we will find Articuno, which you will have to defeat first before catching, save before encountering. Next, we will stop at the Cinnabar Islands, where we can revive fossils, enter the Pokemon Mansion, and face the gym. But before doing anything here, we will head north to this patch of grass next to Pallet Town to catch Gloom and Vileplume in Let's Go Pikachu, Weepinbell and Victreebel in Let's Go Eevee, and Tangela. Then we head back to Cinnabar Island and head into the mansion. Inside, we catch Grimer and Muck in Let's Go Pikachu, Coughing and Wheezing in Let's Go Eevee, that is, if you didn't catch the 4 at the power plant. We will also catch Magmar and Ditto. All can be found on any floor, but Ditto is much more common in the basement. Get the key to the gym in the basement, Beat the gym, then assuming you've completed all other gyms up to this point, you can face the last gym in Viridian City. Once that is done, head east of Viridian, then up through the gate to Route 23. Here we have Poliwag and Poliwhirl in the water, as well as Execute, Executor, Nidoking, and Nidoqueen in the grass. You can also find all of the other Nido Pokemon here if you've missed any. Continue heading north and we will reach Victory Road. Inside we can find Moltres hidden behind a few rock puzzles, saved before encountering, but we can also find Rhydon and Machoke. Catch an extra Machoke to evolve. Also, on the second floor, Hitmonlee is our rare spawn, and on the third floor, Hitmonchan is. I recommend using a lure, then using this ladder to jump between the second and third floor, catching innate Geodudes or Machops for your catch combo, since they are the easiest catches here. Remember to only catch one species of your Pokemon to increase your combo. Then, after completing Victory Road, we will fight the Elite Four, watch the credits roll, then we are heading to Route 1. Yep, grab your flying Pokemon, then catch Pidgeot in the sky. Then, you can catch some Pidgeys for a catch combo, and get yourself a Charizard if you haven't already, and a Dragonite, both as rare spawns. Next, we are heading to Cerulean Cave. This cave has a lot of specific Pokemon and weird mechanics to go through, so we will take each one at a time. First, Lickitung can be found on any floor, Golduck can be found on the first floor and the basement floor on land, Poliwrath can be on the same floors as Golduck but in the water, and of course Mewtwo can be found at the very end of the cave, save before encountering. And honestly, just use your Master Ball. What else will you use it for? Now, if you go up to the second floor, you can catch Chansey if you didn't encounter one already. Chansey also makes for a great XP farm and is where I went to grind levels for evolutions. Something else to note is that every item on the ground up here has a chance to respawn after 250 steps. But you will also need to leave the room. Also, every item only has a chance to respawn, ranging from 10% to 30% based on each spot. Every spot also has its own pool of items, and anywhere you find a Pokeball has a 1 in 301 chance to be a Master Ball. The best part is, this game doesn't decide what the item will be until you pick it up. So save before you pick up your item, and farm for the best items that you want. If you don't get what you want, close your game and try again. Now, when you enter this room for the first time, I strongly recommend heading to the small crystal in the middle of the room and saving, then pick up the item. Half the time it'll be a max revive, but the other half it'll be one of 3 fossils in the game. One final and more surefire spot to get a fossil is to go to this spot in the basement. Save your game and pick up the item. It is guaranteed to be a fossil. The one drawback is this item is time locked and will respawn 100% of the time, every night at midnight. There are no date skipping tricks in this game, so don't try. Once you have 2 Helix, 2 Dome, and an old Amber, head back to Cinnabar Island and head to the lab to revive them. Ammonite and Kabuto will only need a single level to evolve. Speaking of evolutions, here's a list of all the Pokemon you need to evolve. Ivysaur, Venusaur, Charmeleon, Wartortle, Blastoise, Arbok, Raichu, Sandslash, Wigglytuff, Parasect, Primeape, Alakazam, Machamp, Golem, Gengar, Hypno, Marowak, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Omastar, and Kabutops. And with that, you have every Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Put them all in Pokemon Home, then open the mobile app, go to Pokedex, then the Games section, and click the Let's Go Games. Then go to Gifts and receive your shiny Meltan. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know if I missed anything in the comments section below. Thanks for watching!